by the blood of our people are your lands kept safe.
I see in your eyes the same fear that will take the heart of me.
So do all who live to see such times.
By all that you hold dear, this good earth.
There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting.
Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our Warner Brothers announcement extravaganza, I guess. Obviously, at this point in time, you must know that Warner Brothers has come out and said that they are looking to make some more films set in Middle-earth, not necessarily about the core of the Fellowship or anyone center to the original trilogy, and they're not looking to remake the original trilogy. They're looking to explore other areas of Middle-earth. And it's also important to know that the creative team behind the original trilogy, Peter Jackson included, are in the loop, quote unquote. So I thought we would touch on some of these ideas because we've pitched ours, and maybe I will do an entire video where we just pitch. It'll be like 10 minutes of us pitching idiotic ideas. You've heard our ideas, and if not, we're going to do that video. But let's talk about some other ideas that some people that thought a little bit harder about it came up with. So, what do we've got here? So, this one person points out that it'd be really interesting to see how Aragorn got to Rivendell. Now, I've already mentioned this. They're not looking to do. It sounds like they're not looking to do anything with the main group just yet. They're looking to do stuff elsewhere. But this is an interesting idea. I will grant them that, and that is, it's kind of like the young Aragorn story. We've come up with this idea ourselves because Aragorn's past is fascinating. People don't realize how long he's lived, and the fact that he knew Theoden's grandfather. So like it's that level of backstory where I'm actually okay with something like that because I don't think in the movie Aragorn mentions it, but they do in the books, and so it's one of these weird, almost like hidden secrets that sometimes people watching the movie will point that out. I think that as long as it's done right, it won't wreck what we've already established and their interaction, because they have a pretty standoffish relationship a little bit at first, just in terms of how Aragorn presents his ideas to King Theoden, and Theoden has a different take on the situation, and they're kind of at odds. And that relationship, Aragorn potentially could have either soured things or made them better by mentioning aspects like the fact that he knew his grandfather, that kind of stuff. So as long as you do it in a way that doesn't interfere with what we've already seen, I think that'd be a neat story. Young Aragorn is probably between that and
you could do old Aragorn too. Like you could do what was his governing.
So
like? That's very Game of Thrones.
So you could, and I think I've pitched this as more of a jokey one. I've pitched this one, which is I was about to say I don't know if the viewers know this, but what happens is that Aragorn moves the capital to right near Bree.
Hey, well, yeah, because that was a kingdom too, right?
That's right. That's right. So Aragorn reestablishes that kingdom and holds domain over Gondor, and I believe Faramir.
He lets Faramir run Gondor.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. Anyway, but the point is, I always thought it'd be an interesting idea because in the books, when they tell the innkeep at the Prancing Pony that homeless man is now king, that the innkeeper is like really flabbergasted. So I always thought it'd be a really great scene to have Aragorn walk into the Prancing Pony as king. I want to see that scene. So you're right, old Aragorn doing that'd be an awesome scene. It'd be so fun.
And you have, I think it'd be like, We hate your tax policy, stuff like that.
Yeah, it would just be Aragorn sitting in a throne and having people wander in and say, hey, I hate your tax policy. Why did we massacre all those orcs? Why are we committing genocide against orcs?
I stand up for orc rights.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have George R.R. Martin in one of the scenes complaining about stuff. But yeah, so anything involving Aragorn, it's gonna be tricky, but I do think Aragorn is, outside of Sam Gamgee, Aragorn is the most beloved for sure. And so young Aragorn has a lot of fun stories that are directly mentioned in the books. And then old Aragorn, I would like to know more about that, and that's going to be a bit more creative because you only get hints of that. So the next one is Gandalf being the protagonist of a new movie. And you
could do that.
You could do a whole bunch of stuff with Gandalf, because Gandalf has a long history with a lot of different.
Gandalf starts a wizarding school, and there's
oh no, this is taking a turn.
He's just Dumbledore.
Well, so at that point he would be a conjurer of cheap tricks at that point, because you can't teach being an angel. If that's spoilers for anyone, I don't think it should be, but just in case, I don't even think it's in the movie, so you'll be okay. The thing about Gandalf is he has an interesting relationship with a lot of different people. When the Fellowship arrives to see into Galadriel's domain, the first thing she asks is, "Where's Gandalf?" Gandalf is well known to the men of Gondor, and he frequents there quite often to discuss with the nobles about goings on. We know he's welcomed in Rivendell, so there's a lot of things that you could have him be doing. I think an interesting one would be before he meets Bilbo. What is his association with the hobbits prior to Bilbo? We know a little bit from the books, because we know he met Bilbo when Bilbo was younger. But prior to that, was he free? Was he going into Hobbiton frequently? Did they know him well the same way that, say, the elves or the men of Gondor knew him? Or
I mean, you get the impression, because Bilbo hadn't seen Gandalf probably in 45 years, probably.
Right.
So maybe he just shows up every 40 years, and everyone just has such a good time that they remember him.
And then I guess at one point,
because even he was in Gondor, obviously, because Faramir and Boromir had a relationship with Gandalf, and Aragorn had a relationship with Gandalf. He was just everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But I would like to see his first interactions with the hobbits, or early, not Harfoots, but.
Well, you're seeing it.
Oh,
Yes, Harfoots. We all know that's.
No, it's not. It's better not be. No. But what I mean is, I'd like to see that first interaction with young Bilbo and Gandalf.
Yeah, you're gonna see the first reaction, and he's gonna say, "Always follow your nose."
Oh Jesus! Oh no! It's almost like they have a quote machine in that writing studio. They're like, all right, this scene needs a nice Lord of the Rings quote, and it just generates one, even if it doesn't make sense. What should we have here in this nice scene? By the blood of our people, let's go. Oh, that doesn't fit. Throw it in anyway.
By the calluses of my hand.
There, you nailed it. Put it in. People won't know. It sounds epic. Yeah, so I think having Gandalf prior to even The Hobbit would be interesting. I don't actually know post Return of the King. Is there anything you want to see Gandalf doing after that? other than building a wizarding school. So in the books,
He goes to the Undying Lands, right?
right, and he goes and talks to Tom Bombadil a little bit.
Oh, that's true. We could find out what he said to Tom Bombadil.
See,
That's better off left.
that's one of those things that I was getting at. That's better off left unsaid, no matter what.
Because you're going to just find out that boats look up and rocks look down. That's what Gandalf said to Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, like that. Whatever they come up with is not as good as knowing something epic was said, because I don't think you can write something that everyone will say, yeah, that makes sense why they needed to talk. I just think you have to leave it and just know that, you know, Tolkien had some crazy idea for Tom Bombadil. It's not really clear what, because it's not even clear Tom Bombadil's point in the story, and it seems like he was a relic from a previous version of the story that persisted. But anyway, so yeah, that
I've heard some people say he's just an Easter egg because I think Tolkien had published a book of poems about Tom Bombadil 30 years prior.
Yep.
And this is just an Easter egg for people who follow him or something.
Yep. Well, there's that. I've heard that theory, but also when he started these stories, they were stories for his kids, and Tom Bombadil was just a fun character. It didn't have any, like, when you're telling stories to kids, you're not like, how can this, like, what's the, you know, deeper subtext of, you know, his yellow hat.
I can't imagine being a kid and even wanting to hear about Tom Bombadil, though. It's different times.
Yeah, different time. Well, also, I think hearing random stories about Tom Bombadil just being a goofy guy that lives in the woods versus the guy we get, which is, you know, he's still a goofy guy that lives in the woods, but we have this other stuff going on that's a bit more important than, like, what's Tom Bombadil doing? You know what I mean? Like, we have a dangerous ring that we have to deal with. We don't have time to be mucking about with Tom Bombadil being a fancy fellow or whatever. So, but yeah, I think you could do a Tom Bombadil story, a Tom Bombadil movie, but you'd have to almost do it like a Superman movie where, like, the real issue is not, you know, how's Tom Bombadil gonna beat this guy or whatever. Like, it almost has to be like the moral has to be Tom Bombadil can't solve all your problems. You have to figure it out yourself. Like, that almost has to be the end result of the movie, because he's OP. So there's nothing to, like, he can't fight anyone. It's too powerful. So it'd be a weird one. It'd almost have to be, I mean, you could do like One Punch Man, but like Tom Bombadil.
and he's depressed for something.
Or he's the opposite. He's really happy and he doesn't like fighting, but everyone wants to challenge him or something. I don't know. I Tom Bombadil is such a hard character. This way, I'm like, why do people want him in things? Why is everyone like, this movie is not complete without Tom Bombadil? Like, what did you want him to do in Fellowship? Somebody in the comments, please tell me what Tom Bombadil was supposed to do. If you were to go back in time and you were able to catch Peter Jackson at a great moment, and you're like, hey, I have a scene for Tom Bombadil. What would it be, and how would it add to the story? It wouldn't. Now, we're gonna do an expanded universe. Go right ahead, do a whole movie if you want. That's fine. But people wanting him, like, do they not realize how powerful and how weird this character is, that it doesn't even have mass appeal? Like you said, I can't imagine being a kid and going, I want to hear more about Tom Bombadil. No, I want to hear more about Aragorn and Sam and all these other cool characters. Tom Bombadil's a weird old hermit. I must be like the biggest Tom Bombadil hater in this community. It's not even that I hate him, it's just that narratively it confuses me. Like, I'm looking for why. And I think it's, like you said, it's either just an Easter egg, it's a part of the story that Tolkien never took out but maybe should have, and it was part of a different story that Tolkien was telling his kids. All this stuff.